And welcome back. So, before we've all been using these if statements, we've learned how to nest them, we've learned how to use else and else if to, make little amendments to these if statements. Now we're going to learn about and or. So first off, let me just run this module, and I will run this. And it'll say the computer login program. Oh, enter your username. Okay. Monticchio, and this time that's my password. And it'll say, oops, did I give it an error? Oh, I gave it an error. One moment. Let me run that module again here, and let's fix that. So I'll just say I'm sjobs, enter, and my password is Apple. Welcome, Steve. See, it gave me the welcome, Steve. So now let me run this guy again. And this time I will say I am B. Gates. And my password is Windows. Welcome, Bill. So I have two different I have a username and a password, and it gave me a nice little login thing. So now let me just go and hit run module here, and I'll just say my name is guest. And now this time I'll just give myself some random some random string, and it'll say welcome guest. So in this first attempt, I actually gave myself nothing that would work in either of them. So I probably should have put an else statement in this, but that's okay. So let's just start this program off here now. And as always, put your name on it, please. So we got two things we have to work with, right? We have ourselves a username, and equals an input of some sort, right? And we've got ourselves a password, which also equals an input of some sort, right? So let's just get this out of the way. We'll just say something like print welcome to the computer login program, just something to, make it nice and homey. So I'll input, and I'll say something like, enter your user name, and I will give them a little tab in, and I'll say something along the lines of, enter your password. And we already know how to do all that. So now we got ourselves some stuff here. So first things first, I'm going to make myself a username. So I'm going to just use myself here. So if, and I recommend you use yourself instead of me. So if your username equals, I don't know, let's just say Monticchio, because that's my name. And that's probably the reason why I had a stupid error, was because if you remembered, I lowercased my m by mistake. And then, you would have something like this. And you could, in fact, have another if statement inside of it and say if password equals, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is not my actual password. If anyone thinks I'm that stupid, you're a fool. And you would essentially have yourself a nested if statement, and we could say something like print, welcome, David. And of course, because I didn't put a parentheses around that, it's going to give me, yep, there we go. So now if I did something like that and I put, what's my username? Monticchio. Enter your password, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it says welcome, David. However, that's using up 3 lines here, okay? I don't want to have this be this and this, because before we were working on essentially a situation of if blank then blank happens. But what I want to do is if blank and blank then something happens. I want to add something onto this. So I could do it by essentially doing this, but I don't want to do it like that. I'm going to instead go and put the word and. That's it. That's all it is. And. So now instead of having multiple lines, I can have it on one line. So now I'll do D Monticchio. I'll hit my password of 12345. And it says, welcome David. It did exactly what I told it to do. So, basically, the way an AND works is both sides need to be correct. So I need to have username equals this, and password has to equal that in order for this to print out. So, let's try it, and I'll do D Monticchio. But this time, my password is blah, 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 blah. And when I execute it, it won't do anything. Doesn't do anything. Oops, I realized I misspelled your. So, as you see, one side was correct, but the other side was not. Both sides of an AND statement need to be true in order for it to go to the next line right here, to go what's inside of it. So, if I switch this to an OR, now if I do D Monticchio, blah, 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 enter, it still says welcome David, because it's either or. So, only one side needs to be correct when using the OR command. So, if username is that, or if my password is this, move on to the next line. So, for an AND, both sides need to be correct. For an OR, for an OR, either side needs to be correct. So I'll do the same thing, but this time I'll just make the password correct. So my username is blah, 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 but my password is 12345, and it says, welcome David. So that's how an OR is different from an AND. For an AND, both sides must be true for the statement to return a true value. That true value being the ability to move down to the next line inside of it. For an OR statement, either side needs to be true. Think of it like this. If I tell you, hey, I want a red balloon or a blue balloon. If you give me a red balloon, have you given me what I wanted? Yes, because I said it could be red or blue. Now, if I said I want a red balloon and a blue balloon, if you just give me a red balloon, have you given me what I wanted? No, because I wanted both of them. I said and a blue balloon, not or a blue balloon. So, we're just going to change it to an and we're just gonna, make another if statement here, and if username equals, and this is where we just make up a bunch of people, and I'll just say sjobs. If you want to just look at the rubric right now, it should tell you how many people to have and how many different passwords to have. Password equals, I don't know, I said Apple, right? And it'll say, it'll say print, welcome Steve. And you know what? I'm just going to copy and paste this to make this go by quicker. Copy. And paste. And this time I'll put, B. Gates. And his password will be Windows. And I'll say welcome Bill. Then I'll, paste it again. This time it'll be, I don't know, S. Miyamoto. And the password will be Nintendo. And it'll say, welcome Shigeru. For Shigeru Miyamoto. And so now we got 4 different people. We got 4 different usernames, whatever. That's fine enough. But now it's going to make ourselves an and here, an if. So if username equals guest or password equals guest, it'll print out welcome guest. So now if I were to just say, oh, my name is Jerry, and oh, well, what's my password? Oh, I'll just use the guest password, and it'll say welcome guest. So I can use all that. Now I guess I could use some elifs in here if I wanted to. Elif, elif, elif. I could do that as well. Elif, execute, and I'll get essentially the same effect. My name is Barry, and I don't know, I'll just use the guest password right here. Welcome guest. Now, of course, if I say, you know, if I really want to do an else for everything else, like let's just say they typo, they don't get their username or the password for any of these correct, even guessed. I don't know, I'll just print out something and say, you know, print error, password or username incorrect. There we go. So now if I really, really screw up and I say, you know, that's that, and oh, okay, I want to say guess, but I type in pest instead because G and H are right next to each other, it'll now tell me, it'll go through everything, and it'll say error, password, or username incorrect. So, hence that everything else option comes in handy once again in case someone screws up typing any, or they don't type anything that you're expecting them to type. So, when using if statements, it's probably always a good idea to have an else to fall back to just in case. But yeah. So, once again, these are essentially just yes or no questions. Once again, so does this equal that? Yes. And does this equal that? Yes. Okay, then do this. And then it's going to stop doing everything else because it found the first correct answer. Was this equal to that? No. Okay, moving on. Was this equal to that? No, moving on. Was this equal to that? No, moving on. Was this equal to that? Yes. And was this equal to that? Yes. Okay, then I'll print that. That's the first correct answer, so skip everything else. It's just how if statements work. It's how logic in computers works. So now, as we've gone through, we've done if statements, we've done else if, we've done else, we've done and, we've done or, we've done equal to, we've done not equal to, we've done, you know, greater than, greater than equal to, less than equal to. There is a lot of logic that we have done this week. So we're going to put this all together next week into a big project. That big project is going to be a game of rock, paper, scissors. See you next week. When you have this all working, please submit it through Moodle, save it, put it in a Word document, do whatever it is you need to do. Save it to me, send it to me, and we will, I'll send it through Moodle. And we'll wind up, and I'll see you next week. I'll wind up grading them.